Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I cannot believe that I am now back live streaming via Facebook after all the hassle, all the trouble with not only Facebook, but also with YouTube as well, that I've managed to get the stream back. And it was completely weird. There was no message. There was no anything to say, right, you've been a naughty boy and you're allowed back on again. It just happens just by sheer chance in the early hours of this morning. I was just quickly going through some administration on my computer, and I was just quickly looking at Facebook, and I thought to myself, oh, I'll just have a check and just see if I'm still blocked. And lo and behold, absolutely fantastic. It just suddenly started streaming. And I was, as you can see from the message, I was so excited. I was saying to Dennis at the time, oh my God, I'm back, I'm so chuffed. So anyway, there's a quick look at the real estate. Once again, can I just say thank you to everybody who sent me little messages of encouragement. I did actually kind of miss doing it for those couple of days, but you know what? I think I needed a break from it as well. It was getting very intense, getting very, very, I don't know. It was just getting me down as well. That is, to be honest, with just everything that's going on, the craziness of what's going on with COVID. At the moment here, the heat and the temperature is absolutely off the charts. It's really, really quite serious now. I even got messages in the early hours of this morning. Can I just say a quick hello to Ben Warner at beatsradio.co.uk, saying, I hope you're all right, buddy. He says, I've been seeing all the news reports about the fires in Greece. I hope you're all right. Yeah, we personally here on Zakynthos, we've been okay in that regards, but I know other areas of the country have been really hit badly by fires. There's still a danger here. So just quickly, the weather forecast for today. Again, thank you to Amanda for still sending me weather forecasts. Today, she says, sun shining, extremely hot, extremely high temperatures. Temperatures about 36 degrees, going to feel like 39. I've got to be honest, when I went to work last night on my bike, it said 40 degrees on my bike going to work. But temperatures today in the Ionian, looking at the other weather forecast services, they're actually saying that today we're looking at temperatures in the Ionian from 40 to 42 at the moment. Crete is also looking at 40 to 43. The Eastern Aegean, 42 to 44 over in those areas as well. And there is a massive fire risk at the moment going on. So once again, please be very careful. Certain things have also been closed, and I'll come on to that again because of fire risk. I've just realised this morning, in my enthusiasm to get the message out, I hadn't got the flights in for flights arriving into Zakynthos today. So I do apologise for that. Just means the broadcast will be a bit quicker getting out. Anyway, as for infections, again, people were still sending me private messages asking about the infection rates while I had my little hiatus. At the moment, infections are up. The other day, it was 2,760. New infections at the moment, 2,856. They've gone over the 500,000 level. There's now been 503,885 infections since the pandemic started. So we've gone over that 500,000 threshold. Anyway, there were 9 new cases reported on checks into the country. That was up on the previous day of 12. Now, according to the national statistics, these are the numbers on the islands that we've been keeping an eye on in particular within the last 24 hours. I haven't gone back and researched all of the islands' numbers while I was on the hiatus. But anyway, Mykonos has had 30, Rhodes has had 98. Steve Kimberley is over there in Rhodes. He was also sending me messages about the fires over there as well. Thank you for that. And about the power cuts as well. But anyway, Rhodes has had 98 new infections within the last 24 hours. Lefkada, another little Ionian island quite close to us, that's had 5 new infections in the last 24 hours. Corfu, they've had 39 new infections within the last 24 hours. And also the prefecture of Kefalonia, they've only had 5 new infections in the last 24 hours. But in Zakynthos, in the last 2 days, we've had 18 new infections today. Yesterday, there was 19 new infections. So when I tally that up with the amount from the previous times, for the month of August already, Zakynthos has had 61 cases here on the island, and we've had a total of 838 positive cases since the beginning of the year. So our epidemiology is looking a little bit worrying, shall we say, as if we might move into other measures. But at the moment, we're not. We are not in the red as far as Greece is concerned. We are still in the amber, which is good for us at the moment, and also good for people coming to visit the island. So at the moment, fingers crossed, we are still keeping our heads below the waterline, shall we say, in the way of what's happening in the other measures that could come in, which could really destroy our season. When it comes to deaths at the moment, there's been 16 new deaths within the last 24 hours. Before that, there was 14 deaths across the country. Now, the 13,000 mark has been passed now. You might remember we were talking about that before the broadcast stopped as to whether we're going to see over 13,000 deaths since the pandemic started. Well, now the number is at 13,013 deaths since the pandemic started. 96.4% of those people were over the age of had underlying health issues or were over the age of 70. And again, our condolences to anybody that's affected, to the families for their loss at this time. When it comes to critical cases at the moment are starting to rise. Yesterday, there were 172 critical cases across Greece in ICUs. That number today, I can report now, is actually 192 critical cases. 126 of those are male, 66 of those are female. Again, the average age of people in critical condition is 67 years of age. 83.5% have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. So there you go. Those are the stats at the moment in regards to what's happening with the COVID. Well, a little bit of a rushed catch up, just to basically put you in picture that things at the moment are still not 100% fantastic good, but then again, they could be worse. And then when you look at it in comparison to the UK and most other places, our epidemiology in reality is okay, shall we say, but nothing that should stop us from having a holiday season, put it that way. But anyway, now we go on to the news, and the big story at the moment, I'm not sure, I know our local press haven't yet published this, but the Daily Mail today said that a father of 2 told how his £4,000 family break to Greece became a holiday from hell after being forced to quarantine in a filthy, rat-infested hotel with his partner and young children, despite testing negative for COVID 6 times. Anyway, man by the name of Antti Stanton, he said he spent £4,000 on a much-needed family break to the Greek island of Zante. Now, despite testing at the airport, authorities rang him to tell him that the result that they had was wrong. So him and his wife and 2 children had been forced into a quarantine hotel. Now, they described it as dire conditions, including ants and mice, and also a broken air conditioning unit, considering how hot the temperatures have been at the moment. One thing you don't want at the moment is an aircon unit that's not working. However, Mr. Stanton, who's a kitchen fitter and bedroom fitter from Wigan, who runs his own business, complained that he has been constantly on the phone to Jet2, the company he booked the holiday with, and also he's been in touch with British embassy officials. Now, his words are, he moaned to Jet2 that Jet2 have abandoned us and said it's up to us to sort it out. How can that be right? He said, we've paid them a lot of money but they're doing nothing. He also said, we've told them about the conditions in the hotel, that I can prove I'm COVID negative and we're not getting any help. He also said that the British Embassy in Greece said it's got nothing to do with them, as they can't interfere with the Greek authorities. Anyway, the family have been told that they will have to remain in the quarantine hotel until the 10th of August, the date their holiday was supposed to end. Now, I've got to be honest, in the article when I read that this morning, there was nothing in there about where they were staying in the quarantine hotel. Now, you do, as you are probably aware, it's the Kerry Spa and Resort down in Kerry. They also complained that there's no internet down there, so of course the children couldn't do anything. They couldn't go online. Looking at the age of the children, they're very young, to be going online unsupervised, and basically they felt that they'd been abandoned and they were in the middle of nowhere. But the point is, I did look at the video footage that they put up. Yes, there were a few ants crawling about. I was surprised about this picture of the mouse, because I thought you would have made more of an issue about the mouse. All I can say, I got that feeling of a Peter Kay sketch of let's put a sad face on and point to something on the wall, and we might get compensation for something. So at the moment, maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's not going to do our image any good, especially when the Daily Mail likes a good story, and sometimes the truth gets in the way of a good story from time to time. But I'm going to keep an eye on that, because one thing they have not done this time in their article was actually to show where this quarantine hotel was, whether we've got a second quarantine hotel that suddenly appeared because the other one has been overwhelmed. When you look at our epidemiology levels, they are high. They have been going up. But when you look at the amount of people testing positive on arrival at different ports into the country, they are still low at the moment in comparison. So again, it's a bit of a strange one, and we'll see what fallout comes from the article, and we'll see what the local press also have to say about the article as well. Anyway, the Municipality of Zakynthos has closed the road leading to the Shipwreck. The reason for this is a decision was made because of the high risk of fires. The president of the local community of Volymez, Nikos Theodis, started to protest the situation that prevails, emphasising that in other tourist streets there was no closure because of the weather. Anyway, basically what they're saying is the locals want the road to be kept open. The municipality has decided to shut the road as a fire prevention, but Mr. Theodis, the head of the community in that location, has appealed to the authorities to provide some kind of solution to the issue for the upper part where the shipwreck is. Now, it's only from the viewing area. It seems that that road to go down to where the viewing area, it has been closed, all right? So again, if you're thinking about going up there for a day out, I would say you're probably better off to get the boat trip than you would be to try to drive up there, because obviously they will the road up there at the moment has been closed because of the fire risk. You might remember just before my little hiatus the story of the 55-year-old man that broke into the fire station and threatened the fireman there with a knife. Well, the outcome of his case was published yesterday. The 55-year-old was actually sentenced to 4 years and 30 days in prison. Basically, he obviously is going to be going to jail. The guy is from the island. There had been an investigation going on into him, reference arson. He had some kind of grudge with one of the firemen in the fire station, and basically now he has been sentenced by the courts to 4 years and 30 days in prison. Anyway, another interesting story that came out again. This is on the Greek national media. At a time when Greek tourism industry is recovering a series of measures aimed at visitors coming to the country, even if they are vaccinated, some of these are causing anxiety in Athens. Now, after the United States Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, recommended that US travelers avoid Greece, Iran and Ireland I'll just say that again, to avoid coming to Greece, Iran and Ireland because of the rise in COVID-19 cases, Israel now has imposed a 7-day quarantine on residents returning from Greece. Now, Greece is not the only country targeted by the Israeli measure. The decision also concerns 18 other countries that not had been on the list of targeted destinations. They include France, Germany, Italy, and the US, among others. Now, the decision does take effect on the 11th of August. From that day on, whoever travels to Israel from Greece must self-quarantine for a week, even if they are vaccinated or have recovered from the coronavirus. And can I thank the lovely Effie, who sent me a message that she's supposedly coming this Sunday from Israel for a holiday, and these restrictions were given to them before she was due to fly over. But she says, damn them, she says, I'm coming to enjoy myself in Zakynthos, and I'll do the quarantine when I get back. And you've got to remember that Israel was always seen as one of the most progressive countries when it came to sorting out the passport situation with the vaccine passports, etc. And also some of the rules and regulations that they put in place were very, very draconian indeed. And the fact is, if you'd had the vaccine, you had your ticket to freedom. But anyway, that is not happening now with the Israelis, and they are obviously not very happy about it. Now, going back to the other restrictions concerning the southern Aegean islands, among Greece's most popular tourist destinations, they were also announced by the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control, and that's the ECDC, the European side of it. Now, according to the centre's data, the Greek islands were moved to the red category after the number of new cases shot over 500 per 100,000 inhabitants in the past 2 weeks. Now, the deep red category includes 13 popular islands. Now, these islands include the likes of Mykonos, Naxos, Paros, Samos, and Santorini, but they do not include us. We are not in deep red. We are still in the sort of amber, orangey colour. But at the end of the day, we are amazed we are still not being put into the red. So that means people from the UK are still able to come and visit, and obviously do their if they're double vaccinated, they don't have to quarantine when they go home, and they obviously have to do a test on the second and fourth day of being back in the UK. But anyway, we are still in the amber at the moment. Now, the US State Department, on the recommendation of the CDC, upgraded Greece to level 4. The countries it recommends the US citizens avoid travelling to. Now, in effect, this travel directive in early April that the State Department had included 34 countries in that category. Since then, always following the CDC's advice, it has added more than 100 countries, but also removed several since June, with the Delta variant of the COVID-19 expanding. It has not removed any country from the list, which now includes almost 90 countries. Now, before these latest developments, Greek tourism appeared to be well on its way to recovery, according to the data supplied by the Greek Ministry of Tourism, as there were about 2.36 million arrivals, or 65.5% of the 2019 pre-pandemic level, which was an exceptional year, I've got to be honest, where it was 3.6 million. Now, in 2020, July arrivals had fallen to 1.4 million, or 38% of the 2019 level. So with this number with this confusion at the moment that's going on, they're worried that this is obviously going to affect the recovery of the country. And again, they were on track. The total number of arrivals since tourism started in May was some like 3.7 million. So again, there was a good recovery going on. And this latest thing, and by the Americans and the Israelis, are causing, shall we say, consternation, and again could affect people thinking, you know what, I can't be bothered to go there. It seems too much hassle, or or it seems too unsafe to go there because the Americans and the Israelis have decided not to go there or advising people not to go. But anyway, again, all we can do is wait and see how it pans out. Also, as well, the Greek finance ministry officials were saying businesses who want to receive state aid to cover fixed expenditure, mainly taxes and social security contributions, must apply online to the My Business Support platform. And if you want to get that money, you've got to do that by the 9th of August. They reckon at the moment there's probably around about 31,000 businesses in Greece that are eligible for money from that location. And my best advice to you, go see your accountant, ask him if your business is, in the frame for this. Get them to check that for you and get your accountant to get onto that as quickly as possible. But once again, you've got till the 9th of August to try and apply for some of this money that is being made available by the Greek Finance Ministry towards helping you with your expenditure through the season. Also, as well, going back to vaccines at the moment, the time is ticking now for staff at care homes for seniors and disabled, as well as National Health System employees here in Greece who have still yet to get the COVID-19 vaccination. Now, this is because those who have not had at least one dose of the vaccine by August the 16th and September the 1st, respectively, they will be suspended indefinitely for not taking the vaccine. Now, the government is putting increasing pressure on the public sector workers who have not yet had their shots. Now, the Interior Minister, Makis Vordis, stated on Tuesday that depending on the epidemiology data by mid-August, the government would examine the suspension of unvaccinated civil servants who deal with the public. Now, the Labour Minister, Kotis Hariadis, was speaking to Greek Sky TV, and he believes that the employees will respond positively, adding that the government and citizens must show the maximum degree of responsibility. Yes, referring to health workers in particular, the Health Minister Vassiliadis also noted on Mega TV, they're talking to the TV stations, that they have a supreme mission whose cornerstone is the support and love of their fellow human beings. Oh, that just sounds so shit. Anyway, excuse the French. I cannot imagine that some people working in these structures would risk their lives and the lives of the people they care for, he said, while stressing that the number of health workers who have been vaccinated has increasingly increased. Now, the point is that literally 85% of public doctors have been vaccinated. 74% of nursing staff here in Greece have been vaccinated, and 72% of the rest of hospital ancillary staff have also been vaccinated. However, representatives of the hospital employees said that 10,000 health workers at hospitals, health centres, and also the Greek ambulance service, the ECAB, they have not been vaccinated. But if I remember rightly, we had a little demonstration a few days ago where basically it's still the right to be vaccinated or not. I'm not saying you don't have the vaccine if you want it, have it, all right? But you should still have the right to decide whether you have it or not, and it should not be mandated that you will have it under suspension or being fired from your job or somebody else replacing you on a different contract coming in to take away effectively your job. And again, with the amount of people that are already vaccinated within that area, why are you still harping on about vaccinate? Now, at the same time, the Greek government is also assessing now at the moment whether a booster jab should be made available as early as September for both vulnerable groups and elderly who have previously been vaccinated. And interestingly, a study has also come out by the Western Reserve University School of Medicine in Cleveland, Ohio, and they have confirmed that young people are much higher risk of complications from COVID-19, such as I'm basically heart diseases. I can't go in. There's such long names. I'm not going to attempt to say them. But anyway, they're more at risk than any other side effect from the vaccine, with adolescent girls being 21 times and boys 6 times higher from suffering cardiac complications. And again, this rush to go and vaccinate the youth Again, this is part of the rhetoric of to counter the argument that it's for their safety, etc., etc. Now, as you are aware, since I was stopped from broadcasting a while ago, it seems Sky Australia, one of the best news areas to get information, they got taken down on YouTube, and all of their broadcasts were blocked as well, and their podcasts have been blocked. And this came at the time when they decided to put their army on the streets to impose their absolutely draconian lockdown. Toby Young from the Daily Skeptic, which is now the new name for the Lockdown Skeptic, for those people that are interested. He was speaking on Talk Radio. He said Australia's zero COVID policy has been an absolute disaster, because when you look at the population of Australia, only 15% of that population has been double jabbed, and they're reacting in a completely hysterical state. And also as well, it's obviously been proved that the lockdowns are not working because of the fact that, people have bothered not to have the jab. You've still locked people down. The epidemiology isn't that great. And that's just the weirdness of it. The epidemiology in comparison to every other nation is tiny. But what is tiny as well is the fact the amount of people that have had the jab is small. So you've got to ask the question, why are you so fervently wanting people to get jabbed? Why is there this real, what I would call rabid push towards the vaccination, when in fact, when you think about it, if I had cancer or if I had heart disease or something like that, nobody's telling me I must take my medicine every day for it. Nobody's on my back and saying you're not going to be able to go to work or do anything, or you're going to go on holiday because you haven't had your asthma medicine or your heart pills or whatever. But for the jab, it just doesn't stack up. It really doesn't. And finally, French firefighters and hospital unions declared strikes against the unconstitutional vaccination mandate. 2 French unions called for strikes against the compulsory vaccination of firefighters, healthcare workers and caregivers. Just remember, Greece has already mandatory vaccinated certain sections of the Greek firefighters who had to have the vaccination. If they didn't have the vaccination, they could not work in the what they call the overseas department, like their international rescue arm of the fire service, if they hadn't had the vaccination. Anyway, one of the leading firefighters unions, which boasts about 7,000 members, said it would go on strike starting from Monday unless changes were made to reset the law on compulsory vaccination or certain employees. And they also said that the obligation of vaccination of firefighters under the threat of the penalty violates the Constitution as well. Anyway, the union also said our union does not oppose vaccination. The organisation's spokesperson, Andre Gorty, told the BFM TV, but the conditions under which it is being imposed on the professional level with the threat of financial and other sanctions, that's where we disagree. And that's the same area that I'm coming from as well. I don't disagree with the vaccine. If you want it, you can have it. I just don't particularly want it. That's the bottom line of it. But you are still being pushed into an area where you're having to make a decision that you don't want to make for the sake of your own health. There are people that can't have the vaccine, etc., and they're kind of stuck in a limbo where they're kind of excluded as well. Right. Also as well, going back to the French again, starting from the 9th of August, people in France will be barred from restaurants, cafes, long-distance transportation, unless they have a health pass. The pass is already required at the moment in France for museums, cinemas and other cultural venues with a capacity of more than 50 people. These restrictions, along with the vaccination mandate, has obviously sparked protests across France. More than 200,000 people participated in demonstrations on Saturday. And you know what? Not one mainstream media was covering in any degree any of what was going on with the French. They were all being blocked on the likes of YouTube and also on other broadcasting platforms for breach of community standards. So again, hypocrisy where news coverage is not being followed because it's not fitting the agenda. So anyway, that's it for my news for today. Can I just say thank you to all those people that are tuning in. I'll have quick say hello. Dennis Patrick Carroll over there in Cyprus. I'm not sure what it's like for you at the moment. We heard that you'd gone into some very, very strict measures where you are. I'm not sure if those measures are still in place at the moment, but great to see you tuning in. Also as well, Andrew the Fridge Watkins is watching. Janet Black is watching. Sherlock Holmes, hello mate, how you doing? Nice to see you looking in. Paul Mason is watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in. Rachel Hanson as well. Thank you for your words of support. Also, Shane Bowen says, Galimera Ginge, great to have you back. Thank you, fella. It's great to be back as well. I'm feeling kindly refreshed as well. Barry Leatherdale is tuning in from Essex. David Matthews as well David Matthews over there in Oxford tuning in as well. Nice to have you tuning in. We were talking about the Seychelles on a long call the other day and about everything that's going on there at the moment, and about the situation with the Seychelles, not so much in COVID but more with the Chinese, but that's another story. But again, thanks for your added support as well. Let's have a look. Anybody else that I can get to without it disappearing away and then disappearing up? Steve Kimberley says, welcome back. I hope you're having an interesting holiday at the moment over there in Rhodes. I know you were stuck when the fires were on. Also, very disparaging about help from TUI at the moment. He said TUI, I never saw anything of them. Again, not having reps on the ground at a time when you want them, and being told to phone a landline number in the UK to try and sort things out. Not the best situation to be in. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. This seems to be the way of the future. Reps in situ in resorts seem to be something that is dying out, shall we say. The companies are looking towards the wonders of the internet and the wonders of the app to keep their guests informed, which is all well and good when you want to know which restaurant to go to or where to go for a nice day out. But when it comes to an emergency situation of life or death matters or whatever, there's nothing like a bit of human contact, a human there to say, right, okay, we'll sort that for you, we'll get this done for you, etc., etc. But anyway, it comes at a price. And the company will say, well, if you have more reps, the price of the holiday is just going to go up. All right. So get yourself insurance. Yeah, that's their answer. But anyway, thanks for that, Steve. Dave Matthews, again, I've already spoken about you. I've seen some long comments there, but as always, I can never get to these comments until after the broadcast is over. But anyway, I'm going to bang it on the head there because I've got a lot to do today. Can I just say, last night we did our very first karaoke night for 2021. It felt like it had been an age doing karaoke. And guess what? We were absolutely packed last night. Some lovely people in last night. Getting back into the swing of karaoke, it was interesting. But yeah, we were really, really busy. We were absolutely packed out last night. It really did feel like old times again. I've got to be honest, despite everything that was going on, it really did feel like old times. It felt like, couldn't believe that everything that what has gone on is still going on. But with the amount of people we had in, again, the only restrictions we had was one, people had to do the karaoke sitting down, disinfect the microphone between singers, people not allowed to walk about, move about, etc. Sing on the stools is the word at the moment. And it worked. It worked. Again, all right, we had a few over-exuberant people, as you always do. But on the whole, people were well behaved, followed the rules, and we shall continue until we're told we're not allowed to. If we are in a fact, we'd actually been to the police, Dennis had been to the police, had been given clearance by the police. I'm not going to go too much into that, but at the end of the day, we're not breaking any rules by doing what we're doing as far as we're concerned, and we'll just see how things go at the moment. As regards to live entertainment, again, we're waiting for announcements, we're waiting for more information to come through. I've got to remind you our bar is not a club license, and if you run a club, there's a complete different set of rules to those that run bars, okay? But again, we shall wait and see how things progress. But at the moment, as far as we're concerned, we're doing all right. We're hanging on in there, and that's all we can do. Right, that's it from me. Thank you again for all the support, all the words of encouragement. It was weird. The couple of days that I didn't do the broadcast, I actually felt kind of, I did feel I kind of missed it. All right. So anyway, I'm back at the moment. They're probably going to take this one down by the end of it. But anyway, we'll see what happens. And once again, I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear anything that I think you should know about, I'll let you know. I'm waiting to see what the comeback is on the man with the holiday from hell, and see how that all transpires as well. So anyway, I'll catch you later. You take care. You have a great day, and I'll keep my ear to the ground. Ta-ra.